there, it's Stephanie with the Rancher's Homestead. Welcome back to the channel. So one thing I get asked pretty often is, what's in all your buckets? What do you store in your pantry? What do you buy in bulk? And all of those good questions. And so today I'm going to take you through a little walk through my pantry, what's on my shelves, and also tucked back here in this corner because we have a really tiny house, so I kind of just squeeze in things wherever I can. So this whole wall here in our schoolroom and kind of tucked back our office, schoolroom, kitchen extension, it's kind of a little bit of it all. I just have lined it with my white buckets of things that I have in bulk. So I'm going to go through really quickly a couple of them. But one thing is you can buy these buckets. So my buckets, a question I get asked often is, where do I buy my buckets? And you can buy them on Amazon. I've done that. And you want to make sure you get the bucket with a Gamma Seal lid so that it is really easily able to just twist right on off. I've bought them on Azure when they have them, so I will drop a link to my Azure in the description, and they also sell the Gamma Seal lids to go with it. They're usually separate, so you make sure to get both. And then lately I have been finding my buckets at a local store, Mennonite store, where I buy some bulk foods from. And they've been carrying the two different size buckets with the Gamma Seal. So there's a couple different look around in your area if you want to buy locally, or if you need to go online and get it. I have bought them from Amazon, and I've also bought them from Azure. So, okay, so here's some of the things that I buy in bulk and I keep in my buckets. And the thing that I always say to think about first when you're thinking of buying in bulk and putting things into these big buckets for long-term storage is to think of things that will keep for a long time, and then can you buy them in bulk, and it'll be a money saver in the end. I didn't start out just buying everything in bulk. I started out with buying my staples, things that I knew I used a lot of, my two different kinds of gluten-free flour that I use for my breads, all-purpose flour for my husband, regular all-purpose flour, and sugar. It was really where I started, and then I just grew from there. Now, some things I buy in 25-pound bags, and I need my 5-gallon buckets. Some things I just use the 3-gallon buckets, or I think these might be 2.5 gallons, and I don't buy as big. So, some of the things that I buy is I buy my all-purpose flour in bulk. I just recently started buying my cocoa powder in bulk. This is because it does not go bad, and so you can make fudge with it. You can make hot cocoa mix that I have. I'll put a link in the description on that. You can make all the different kinds of things with cocoa powder, and it doesn't go bad, so might as well get it in bulk, and you never have to worry about it again. I used to just get it and put it in a little half-gallon jar and keep it on my shelf. That frees up so much space in my baking cupboard by now getting it in bulk, putting it in a bucket, and having it here in my little bucket section. This one is almond flour, so I have 3 here lined up. You can't really see in the video. And the almond flour I use quite a bit as well for my gluten-free baking. I buy my coconut sugar in bulk. I buy cornmeal in bulk. I buy, what is this one? Brown sugar in bulk. I used to not do that. I used to just keep it in a little gallon jar on my shelf. Now I buy it in bulk, and it goes in a bucket. So much easier for me. I buy my white corn mesa flour for my tortillas in bulk, and white rice flour. This is just an overflow one. I also have another one over in my other pantry that I'll show you that I've been working out of, and then I'll use this one. I ended up having to get a 50-pound bag. They didn't have a 25-pound bag, and so I had to put it in 2 different buckets. I buy my arrowroot powder in bulk. My oats, I have 2 5-gallon buckets of oats here. I only could get 50 pounds of that. And then all of my different wheat berries for my freshly ground is back here in the corner. So I have a couple different types of wheat berries. I have einkorn, I have hard white and soft white, and so those are right here. And then I just recently, I don't know why I've never thought of this before, I started buying my salt in bulk. So I bought a big bag of salt, I think it was 25 pounds, and I stuck it in a 5-gallon bucket. I probably won't have to buy salt again for so long, but I make my own garlic salt. I use it for baking, for just everyday salt use. I mean, we use salt quite a bit, and so I've always bought it in somewhat bulk, I would say. I mean, I'm not just buying the little things from the store. I was buying like 5 or 10 pounds, but I bought 25 pounds and stuck it in a bucket. I don't know why I never thought of that before. So that's what's in my corner here with all of my white buckets. Okay, so now we're over here. This is in my mudroom, and I had this dead space in our mudroom. And so I had some shelves put in, and I use it for my pantry. There's no door or anything on it, but it's kind of tucked into a corner with no direct sunlight. And so I put all of my canned foods that I can throughout the summer in there. And then I also have a bunch of buckets over here as well. So I'm going to go through what I have in my buckets over here. And then I'll give you a little sneak peek and kind of go through a couple things on my jars. Because I know everyone always wonders when I show my canning shelf, what is in all those jars? And so I'll show some of those as well. Over here I just have white rice flour and brown rice flour that I keep. I'm sorry, not flours. White rice and brown rice, 2 separate buckets that I keep in bulk. I have cornstarch here that I keep in bulk. I use that a lot as a thickener. And then I also use it in my all-purpose gluten-free flour that I have not shared yet, but I will soon. In the back I have some whole wheat flour, or just store-bought whole wheat flour. I've had this for a really long time. I've actually had this since before I got the wheat berries, so now I would rather just ground up my own since I have a mill. But I still have this, and if I need anything convenient with a whole wheat flour, I'll have it here. I have some buckwheat flour back there that's gluten-free. I have, this isn't really anything in bulk, but I do have some lemon peels distilling in white vinegar that I'll use as a cleaning product here soon. So when I make my lemonade, I save my peels and drench them in vinegar. That will then I can make up a all-purpose cleaning solution. I do make a lot of my own pasta, but I do like to buy some pasta and have on hand for quick and easy nights. So I do have regular spaghetti pasta and gluten-free spaghetti pasta. My favorite brand is the Barilla brand. I have some elbow pasta that's gluten-free, and then some egg noodles back there. I have some dried elderberries in the back as well. And then down here, I couldn't get the camera low enough, but down here I have a whole line, and basically all that's down here is all of my everyday use flour. So I have brown rice flour, tapioca starch, white rice flour. Those I use in my breads, so I use them constantly throughout the week. And I get them all in 25-pound bags and put them in these Gamma Seal buckets. I have sugar, just plain white sugar that I get on Azure. And then I have all of my beans. So I have kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans, and navy beans in bulk that I keep back there. And they're just dried beans that then I will soak and can them for on the shelf to put into soups and stews and things like that, or chilies. Or then I can soak them and just cook them right up if I want to, right on the stovetop to use that day. So I get all my dried beans in bulk. I don't buy them canned from the store anymore. I just buy them in bulk, and they last forever. I think I have still not bought kidney beans since 2 years ago, a year ago, when I first bought my first 25-pound bag of them. They last forever. And then I do buy some dry milk powder in bulk, in about 10 pounds. So I don't do the 25-pound bags. This is smaller. And I use that in my all-purpose gluten-free flour as well. And so I always buy that in bulk because I go through that quite a bit. Now up onto the shelf and what's in my jars. Okay, so I'm not going to go through, there's a lot of stuff up here, but I will just kind of briefly share with you some of the things that I can every single year. So up on the very top, that you can't see in the video because I couldn't get my camera up high enough, was just beans. So it's all my canned beans. So I have black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans that I soak and can myself, pressure can myself, and keep them up here so I have jars. So it's just like having the canned beans from the store, although mine are soaked, so I know that they're going to break down better and digest better. I also have up here some ketchup, and that was actually an afterthought last year. I've never done ketchup before, but a neighbor had given me a whole bag of tomatoes. I was already had plenty of sauce and all the things that I usually can with my tomatoes, so I thought, oh, might as well try some ketchup. So I tried some ketchup. I think I also have barbecue sauce. Yes, and I also have barbecue sauce. So I did ketchup and barbecue sauce on those. I have my rendered tallow here that I use in all of my cooking. So I render down my own lard, and I also render down my tallow. Tallow is the same as lard, and I do have a video out on how to render down lard, and so I will drop that link in the description as well, so that you can follow that and see how to do it. Super easy. You just need the time to do it, and so I keep that up there. And then all my broths. So I have some broths up here. Moving down to this shelf, I have my canned green beans from the garden. I have pickles, and then from our fruit trees, I have some pears and nectarines and things. The nectarines aren't from our own fruit trees, but I had gotten them from somebody else. I have some grape juice here I went and picked grapes and was able to squeeze them into juice. And I also have some apple juice in the way back from the apples of our trees. Here's kind of like my fruits and vegetable shelf. I have applesauce, apple pie filling, and then a friend of mine made apple pie filling and had some thickening juice left from it, and so she canned it and gave me a jar to try. So I thought, I don't know what I'll use it for, but I took it and we'll see what I'll do with it. Down here I have all my jams. So I have apricot jam, grape jam. I have some apple butter from a couple years ago, or a year ago. I have basil pepper jelly. This is really good over cream cheese with some crackers. So good. Salsa verde, all of my tomato sauce. So I'm getting down there, but I try and ration out. So I'm down to where are we at? We're in the middle of February, and I really don't want to buy tomato sauce from the store. So I will really count out how many jars I have left to wait until I am making tomato sauce again in the summer. I have some pizza sauce here because we like to have our pizzas. Peppercini, so all of my canned pepperoncinis, we love to use these on sandwiches. I make peppercini chicken with it. So many good things. This is the first year I've done this. This is zucchini relish. Love it on burgers. It's really, really delicious. So when you have all these zucchinis coming in, you don't know what to do with them, make zucchini relish. It's very delicious. And then down here on this shelf, I have a lot of my dried things. So I have dried peppers. I have some bay leaves. I have some of my dehydrated bell peppers and jalapeno peppers. I have my astragalus roots for when I'm making my broths. And then this is where I put all my convenience meals. So I have soups and chilies and Boston baked beans, beef stew. I can them and have them here on this shelf, ready for a quick night, for a lunch, whatever you need to be able to throw them together. All you have to do is take it, dump it in a pot, and reheat it up, and you have a meal ready to go. So I try and get quite a bit of those on the shelf so that we always have something like that. So that's kind of a rundown of what I can every single year. This year I want to grow more and do more, but from last year's garden, this is where I got, and we've been picking off of it all year long. Okay, so here is the last of the pantry. It's kind of right. So my canning shelves are right here, and then here is the closet that's right next to it that I use for any snack food. So all of our nuts and dried fruits and things like that are down here in jars. Any crackers, things like that that we do buy are down here. And then in the way back down here is all of my oils, apple cider vinegar, everything that I buy in jugs, in huge gallon jugs. So I have a couple different oils, olive oil, avocado oil, and safflower oil, usually the big ones that I keep in jugs down here for cooking. And then I have apple cider vinegar back there. I have a gallon of syrup, pure maple syrup, and then I also have a gallon of molasses back there, and so I'll keep those tucked into the back end, and I usually try and just refill little jars and things like that to make them easier to pour and use out of and keep the jugs tucked back here. I buy my peanut butter in bulk. I buy my honey in bulk because we go through a lot of honey, and both of these I get at a local store that I get my bulk foods from, Mennonite store. But I have also bought them from Azure, and they're just as good. I just like to support local if I can. My raw superfood, beef gelatin, anything extra up here. We like tuna. We go through a lot of cans of tuna. Tomato paste. I did can some tomato paste last year. We've already used those jars, so now I have my cans up here that I get from Azure. Green chilies I get from Azure. And just some leftover my hot cocoa mix and some different spices that aren't up on my mason jar shelf. So that's pretty much a rundown of everything that I have here in my pantry, and I hope that this was helpful for everybody. I hope that it gave you some ideas of what you can store in those big buckets. My recommendation is start small. Get the things that you know you use all the time. Start there, because it is costly to start buying in bulk if you do it all at once. So if you start there, then you can start getting on a rotation. The next month, get a few other things. And then the next month, get a few other things. And then you'll start to just replenish as you need to, and you're not buying it all up front and spending so much money. So I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Take care.